It's official. This Diddy trial has ripped off its polite gloves and is now throwing haymakers you never saw coming. What started as just Cassie's horrifying story has detonated into something way bigger than any gossip blog could have predicted. Forget the usual celebrity dirt. We're talking about federal courtrooms buzzing with unheard audio, leaked whispers painting vivid pictures, and a tidal wave of old footage dragging some serious Hollywood heavyweights into the muck. The internet's practically smoking. The streets are buzzing with whispers. And you can bet the people involved are currently questioning every life choice they've ever made. So, what just went down? After weeks of the prosecution laying out Cassie's alleged nightmare, the abuse, those infamous freak-offs, and Diddy's iron-fisted control, the whole thing swerved hard. Court insiders and online leaks are saying the focus has now laser-locked onto audio recordings. And these aren't just any old chats. We're talking about supposedly raw, explicit tapes that allegedly feature Diddy alongside Will Smith and Meek Mill. Yeah, this isn't some Twitter rumor that'll vanish by morning. This is reportedly being played in open court, sending shockwaves through the room. It all kicked off with that hotel lobby video a few days back. No sound, just visuals, and most people figured that was the extent of it. But now, sources deep inside are claiming that behind closed doors, the audio was played, and it left the entire courtroom in stunned silence. Phones were banned. Journalists couldn't record. Just absolute, heavy silence. One person who was there described the clip as undeniably graphic, male on male, the kind of thing that makes a room freeze because you know you've just heard something serious. And if that wasn't enough to make jaws drop, the story gets even wilder. Right after this audio playback, a list of new witnesses was announced. And these aren't random clout chasers. We're talking about ex-bad boy artists, former staff, people who were in Diddy's inner circle, toured with him, partied at his mansions. These are individuals who allegedly saw things firsthand, who might have stayed silent for years, but are now reportedly ready to talk, under the protection of the law. One of those voices? Dawn Richards. You might remember her from Donity Kane, one of Diddy's former girl groups. She recently testified and was later photographed looking completely drained and shaken as she left the courthouse, swarmed by paparazzi. Insiders are saying her testimony backed up Cassie's claims, that she flat out admitted Diddy did some truly messed up things.
One thing Dawn said is after she saw Diddy beat Cassie the next day,
he came in the room
and threatened her.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Dawn is testifying that exactly what she talked about in her civil suit, in addition to some other things that they were in a house in LA in 2009. Diddy beat Cassie because Cassie wasn't finished allegedly making his food on time. And the next day he came in the room to talk to her and her band member, and he basically told them, alleges that he told them, don't say anything. What y'all saw up there was passion. And when people say stuff about things like this about me, they end up missing.
That's not speculation. That's reportedly in the court transcripts. Then there's Diddy's daughter. If you needed a stark visual of how serious things have become, it was her walking out of that courtroom. No arrogance, no attitude, just a blank, pale, and utterly silent expression. Even the relentless paparazzi didn't try to shout questions. She didn't even look up. Sources claim her reaction came immediately after the audio was played, which only amplifies the disturbing nature of what might have been heard inside. The implications here stretch way beyond just legal trouble for Diddy. This is now about shattered reputations, a family legacy hanging by a thread, and a tangled web of secrets involving some of the biggest names in entertainment. Will Smith's name being dropped wasn't just a casual mention. It's reportedly directly linked to that audio. And, the internet went into overdrive the second that happened. The second Will Smith's name hit the headlines in connection with the Diddy case, the internet went into a frenzy. Old clips, awkward side interviews, podcast snippets. Suddenly, every past interaction between Will and Diddy was being dissected under a harsh new light. One interview that went viral again was comedian Lunel casually mentioning that Diddy and Will were clapping each other's cheeks. She said it so offhandedly that most people missed it the first time around. This time, it exploded. The internet ran wild with it. Memes were born, and the speculation began to snowball. But then the rabbit hole got deeper, darker. Fans started revisiting old footage of Will with his son, Jaden Smith. Those affectionate kisses, the overly playful energy that once seemed like quirky father-son moments, were now being rewatched through a completely different, unsettling lens. People started voicing their discomfort, saying something felt off. The tone of the commentary shifted from amusement to genuine unease. Then came the nuclear moment. Brother Bilal, Will Smith's former assistant, dropped his own set of allegations that made everything even harder to dismiss as mere gossip. He claimed to have personally witnessed Will engaging in explicit acts, even graphically describing a moment where Will allegedly touched another man intimately. And that wasn't even the most shocking part. Bilal went on to say he once walked in on Will and Dwayne Martin in a compromising position.
And then I saw sexual acts that I walked in on.
Who'd you walk in on?
Him and Dwayne Martin. Hollywood is the hurry up and wait game. So I'm running all over the studio. He's not in his dressing room. I go to the cafeteria. I'm like, what? But I see his car there. So I open the door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne and having anal sex with Will. There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Dwayne was standing up.
His words, not mine. After Brother Bilal dropped that bombshell about Dwayne Martin, the internet essentially transformed into a digital crime scene investigation unit. Fans weren't waiting for official media confirmation. They started digging up every clip, every photo, every old interview where Diddy and Will were seen together, at events, hugging, laughing, standing close like best buddies. The visual evidence started piling up, contradicting the image Will had always carefully cultivated. Then Will tried to shut it all down with a firm denial. His quote, "I ain't nowhere near that man. I did none of that stupid." Except that his denial seemed to backfire spectacularly. The moment he said it, Twitter and Reddit were flooded with receipts, photos and videos of him and Diddy being very much near each other. Parties, clubs, award shows, casual hangouts. The evidence was overwhelming. Now, people weren't just suspicious. They felt like they'd been lied to directly. And this is where Meek Mill gets dragged even further into the spotlight. His name reportedly came up during the courtroom playback of those alleged freak-off tapes. Once that news broke, it was chaos. Unlike Will, who at least attempted a calm denial, Meek went into full meltdown mode. His Twitter feed became a non-stop barrage of defensive posts. And honestly, the more he tweeted, the more convinced people became that something was definitely amiss. The thing is, Meek's name has been linked to Diddy's for years. Fans have often joked about their dynamic, even giving Meek nicknames like Diddy's Intern, Pocket Puppet, and much darker, unrepeatable things. At the time, most people dismissed it as internet trolling. But now those old jokes are being unearthed and re-examined, as if they were pieces of a puzzle finally clicking into place. And yeah, the internet dug up receipts on Meek too. One viral video showed him at a party with billionaire Michael Rubin, acting almost childlike and awkward. People pointed out how uncomfortable he seemed, like he was trying to laugh something off, but the energy felt completely wrong. A voice in the background can even be heard laughing and seemingly taunting him. Then there's the infamous clip of Diddy throwing Meek a birthday party. Seems normal at first glance, until you notice it's filled with shirtless men by the pool. And Diddy calls Meek daddy on camera, saying things like, "Proud of you. I love you. I appreciate life, daddy." The internet did not let that one slide. Every time Meek posted something trying to project a tough image, fans would just throw that clip right back at him. Daddy became an instant, inescapable meme. And when he went on a rant declaring, "I'm not fruity. Stop playing with me," the replies were just a flood of screenshots, old tweets, and videos of him looking undeniably cozy with Diddy. What's truly got people hooked? What's fueling this relentless online investigation is the enigma of the actual audio. So far, not a single second of it has leaked. No shaky cell phone recording. No whispered snippet. Not even a blurry still image from the courtroom during playback. Just the secondhand accounts, the hushed summaries from those inside. And that very silence is what makes it so deafening, so unsettling. Everyone's hearing how explosive it is, how graphic. But no one outside those courtroom walls has actually heard it for themselves. One insider described the audio as allegedly capturing a man being assaulted while Diddy laughed in the background. That's the level of disturbing detail being whispered. There was even a fleeting rumor online, quickly debunked, claiming someone had a recording of Meek and Diddy in an intimate act. Whether real or just someone chasing clout is debatable, but the fact that it even gained traction shows the fever pitch of speculation. And the fact that the authorities haven't released anything is only amplifying the suspicion. Because here's the thing. In the US legal system, you don't typically just hide evidence in a criminal trial, unless there's a damn good reason. Journalists have already started asking the tough questions. If this audio is so crucial, so damning, why is it locked away? Why can't the public hear what's potentially being used to convict someone in a system that supposedly values transparency? This silence feels heavy, deliberate. Some argue it's about protecting the identities or dignity of those involved, which sounds reasonable on the surface. Others whisper that it's because the audio is simply too explosive, that it implicates too many famous names, that there's too much power behind the scenes, that someone is trying to shield. If this stuff ever truly leaks, it might not just ruin reputations. It could obliterate careers, shatter lucrative deals, spark a barrage of lawsuits, and even drag in individuals who haven't been named yet. And that's the truly terrifying part. If Diddy, Will, and Meek are just the tip of the iceberg, who else is caught in this potentially devastating undertow? As wild as the celebrity name-dropping and alleged acts sound, the most profoundly disturbing aspect of this whole saga is that very silence. We live in an age where nothing stays secret for long. iCloud hacks, leaked court documents, even sensitive courtroom audio. It almost always finds its way onto the internet. But this time, not a single sliver of those alleged Diddy tapes has surfaced. Not a clip, not a whisper, not even a screenshot. That silence screams volumes. And it's got people asking one central, crucial question. Who is protecting this? That question has cracked open a whole new layer of speculation. Because let's be honest, this trial stopped being solely about Diddy and Cassie weeks ago. This is unearthing a potential network, a deeply ingrained culture operating behind the gilded gates of fame and fortune. Something that might have been happening for years unchecked. And the only reason it's seeing the light now is because of relentless federal pressure, and because the alleged survivors and insiders finally feel a semblance of safety in speaking out. We're witnessing the very public unraveling of someone who has been a fixture in the spotlight for decades. Someone who once seemed untouchable. But Diddy was more than just a music mogul. He was woven into the very fabric of hip-hop, television, fashion, and broader culture. He cultivated that bad boy for life image, the extravagant parties, the vote or die campaign, the billionaire friendships. But now, all of that carefully constructed facade is crumbling in real time. What's truly unsettling is how many people are now looking back and saying, "We should have seen this coming." Because in hindsight, the alleged red flags were always there. From his reported intense control over his artists, to those bizarre interviews where he'd insert a pause after almost every sentence, as if he were half joking, half hiding something. Or how so many artists who left Bad Boy seemed to end up damaged or simply disappeared from the public eye. Maze. The Locks. Day 26. The list goes on. Aubrey O'Day has been trying to sound the alarm for years, and it seems like the courtroom is finally listening, even if the wider public often dismissed her claims at the time. And Dawn Richards' testimony reportedly added significant weight to the idea that Diddy wasn't just difficult. He was allegedly predatory. Her corroboration of Cassie's account in a legal setting is a powerful, potentially devastating blow. And the emotional fallout isn't just hitting Diddy. Will Smith's already fragile reputation, still reeling from the Oscar slap, is now on even shakier ground. People who defended him during that controversy are now questioning his character even more deeply. Because if those audio tapes are real, and if he's on them, this isn't just a PR nightmare. It could be career-ending. As for Meek Mill, the internet has practically declared him guilty in the court of public opinion. He hasn't been charged with anything, but his frantic, defensive online behavior, those "y'all trying to ruin me" posts, only fuel the widespread suspicion. And that's the brutal reality of the digital age. Once your name is indelibly linked to something this dark, legal innocence might not matter. The perception battle is often already lost. And yet, the silence from official channels persists. No statement explaining the delay in releasing the tapes. No acknowledgement of their existence beyond the leaked summaries. This only strengthens the theory that these tapes are too volatile to touch. Maybe the individuals on them wield too much influence. Maybe they're tied to unseen power structures. Or maybe the government itself is navigating a treacherous political landscape, hesitant to fully unleash the potential fallout. So, we're left in this strange, unsettling limbo. The legal proceedings continue. The internet relentlessly digs for any scrap of information. And the individuals allegedly involved carry on as if nothing is amiss. But that can't last forever. This isn't a story that will simply fade away because the internet has a long memory and an even longer reach. And when people feel like the truth is being deliberately concealed, their determination to uncover it only intensifies. If these tapes ever do surface, it could very well shake the very foundations of Hollywood's elite circles. Not just because of what Diddy allegedly did, but because of who else might have been in that room. The velvet curtain is slowly being drawn back. And what lies behind it might be far more disturbing than anyone could have imagined.